3, 2, 1.
Alrighty. Okay. Oh, you want me to do? You want me to do it?
Should I open it up?
Okay. All right, here we go.
You're such a troll, dude.
Let me just back up a little bit. All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Chair Guys YouTube channel. We're back, and we wanted to introduce a new series to you guys called At First Glance. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. Let me walk you through it. When a new album drops, we're going to listen to it. We're going to give you our thoughts at first glance. That's all there is to it. Vaughn, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about the brand new Charli XCX album. It's called Brat. It's called Brat.
We're going to take the glasses off now. It's getting serious. All right. Off the bat, Vaughn, what did you think? Bro? I really am curious what you thought.
Well, okay. Let's press rewind. Press rewind. Okay.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Let's press rewind back into, let's just talk about Charli XCX, like pre-Brat.
Okay.
Because I have my experiences with Charli XCX.
True, I do too. I feel that.
And I like Charli XCX. Mm-hmm. I like her music, generally.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to that much of it, actually, to be honest with you. But, checked out Pop 2, checked out Charli. I was big into Charli when that dropped. Shout out Fantano. Definitely had some influence on me at that time. How I'm Feeling Now was a heater as well.
Big heater.
But, I kind of checked out after that. I kind of checked out with Crash just because the streets were saying it was not it. Just that's what the streets were telling me. So you got to trust the streets. You got to put some faith in the streets. So yeah, I hadn't really tapped into her like in a while. And then I revisited Charli just like when this album was coming up in anticipation. And it's still a pretty dope album, I would say. But, I kind of felt like it had grown off me a little bit. Like, there are a few tracks on there that, like, it's just, like, even though there are, like, some futuristic, like, really cool sounding songs on there, there are also some songs that, like, fall into more of, like, a generic pop mainstream kind of sound that I'm not as into. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I generally really like that album still, but I was still not that hyped going into Brat. But damn, I put it on, and 360 intro track is kind of in that same lane that Charli the album is, and it's just a really fun track. I wasn't necessarily blown away by it, but like as the album kept going on, like Club Classics track 2, damn, it's a banger. And then like you just get these big dance tracks, bro. Like Sympathy as a Knife is up next, and it's dope as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the album's really good up to that point. I was really enjoying it, but like once it hits Everything Is Romantic, then from that point on, bro, it's just a run, bro. For me, that point on, it's just like, wow, like that song kind of blew my socks off, bro. Like
Same.
Everything, like the production
Same.
is just so fire. It's just so hard hitting, and it's just so like versatile as well, because you have this beautiful strings and beautiful orchestral piece, and then it goes into this like hard, like one of the hardest dance beats on the album, just like fucking kicks pummeling you, bro. And then it has that whole outro that's just like stunningly beautiful, bro. And then I think it just keeps on that streak, you just get like super fucking fire dance beats, and then like great songwriting as well, great choruses, catchy stuff, some emotional moments as well, with like the lyrics on like So obviously with the Sophie tribute, and also I think about it all the time, talking about like her future potential motherhood, and that was a very vulnerable track. I love that one. So yeah, like just generally, I think it's just a great pop album. Like there's so many catchy choruses, and I've just been returning to it just like for the production is just so detailed, and it's just so fun and so versatile as well. Like every track, it's a very cohesive album, but every track brings its own kind of vibe, from like everywhere from like 2000s electro pop to like hard club bangers, and it just goes across that whole range, and just like it's just killer the whole time for me.
For sure.
So just as a pop album, bro, it's just like it's popping off. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I like that. I like what you did there. Would you say she's making pop too? Because of how good it is, she's like reinventing.
This is like pop 3D. Ooh. This is like pop 3D.
Ooh. I like that. I like that a lot. Real. I'm gonna completely get right off the bat. You're 100% right, man. I love this album. I think it's something. Honestly, at first, I agree with you. I've been following Charli for a minute now. Definitely getting put onto like the Charli project. Then also, listening to that Vroom Vroom EP, kind of going through her discography. Then I would say the first album I was really there for was How I'm Feeling Now. Watching that entire rollout happen during COVID. That was definitely one of the albums in COVID that I love to like lift up and think about, because of the fact that it's so centered around the fact that we were, in lockdown, and I love that. You're right. I checked out of Crash because I was listening to some of those singles. Was not really feeling it. But you know what? It's been 4 years, pretty much, right? Like 4 years, something like that. Or when did Crash release?
Since Crash?
No. Since
it's been
Crash
like 2 years.
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. So yeah, in 2 years, Charli kind of went silent, right? Like we didn't really hear much from her. You know what I'm saying? And then she started coming out with this rollout for Brat, and it was very interesting. It definitely got my eyes, my attention, and everything. And then finally the album dropped. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of sat on it. I didn't listen to it for a couple days, but then I finally checked it out, and I've been listening to it ever since. It's taken me just like that. You're 100% right. Like 360 is a great intro into completely familiarizing you with like, hey, Charli, she's back. Her sound is still here.
Yep.
You're gonna get that sound. It's coming. But yet there's such a moment of self-reflection, not only in the production but in the lyricism, that I just can't help but love it. And man, I really love this. She really kind of like reinvented herself, but still holding true to who she is, because that's what she wanted to get across in this album, is that this is who she is. And that no matter how jaded or kind of bitchy she may come across, in her words, that like whoa, hey man, she's used those terms. She's please don't come after me.
You can't be throwing that around, bro. Yo. Just because she can say it doesn't mean you can say it, bro. Dude,
fuck. Okay. Wait, editor, cut that out. Okay.
I'm the editor, bro.
Nah.
You're fucked.
I did hear her saying that in an interview, and there is something to think about there with it, because of the fact that like I do feel like that myself sometimes, right? Like I feel like sometimes
like a bitch.
Yeah. Like some of those self-desires that I have for myself, I do feel like come from an aspect where it's like kind of jaded, but at the same time, like I so desire for these things, and so does Charli, right? And I really love that about this project, and you're just to kind of go through it, like the idea of like what a brat is very like cool, and she touches on it, and she kind of like makes sure and stays true to that like brat ideology that she's kind of creating on this project. And I really love it, man. Like there's just a lot of lyricism to pour over, and I feel like this is some of her strongest writing in like a long time.
Definitely. I think it's by far her strongest writing I've heard. And again, I told you guys what I've listened to. I haven't listened to her whole discography, but I just get the sense that like she's really peeling back a layer of her identity that she's put forward all these years on this album. And like it really feels really reflective on some songs. Like of course you get other songs where it's just like a fun pop song, and she's maybe talking about like some kind of love triangle or some scenario like that. But like I don't think she talks about a love triangle on this album. That's just an example. But the Brat persona is definitely there, but it's kind of like more of a vehicle to like, it's there just to peel it back. Like it's not actually like her true self, and it's like, it's really just there as like a shield, as like a veneer on the surface. And I think once you really listen to the album a couple times, like you realize like, this is not really who she is. Like she's just using that as kind of the aesthetic, and then she lets you in on the album and some of the deeper tracks.
Yeah. No, you know what? I love that perspective for sure. That kind of opens it up to me a lot too, because yeah, you're right. She kind of introduces this kind of brat mindset to then open the door and talk about very serious things. Like it's true, you mentioned it, but so I that track was very, very like emotional to listen to. And she kind of hints
Definitely.
at that love for Sophie on another track. It's Club Classics. You know, she talks about wanting to be in the club, listening
Yeah,
to
she
Sophie and
shouts
stuff
her
like
out.
that. She shouts her out.
Yeah.
I love it. Actually, another cool shout out is to if I remember correctly, Mike Skinner of the Streets. She gives a shout out
Oh,
to
really?
the Streets. Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't catch that.
She says I want to rap like Mike, which I was like, hold on, which Mike is she talking about? I needed to check. And she's talking about Mike Skinner of the Streets, which is super cool.
How do
because,
you know she's talking about Mike Skinner?
I was checking like an interview, and also maybe not the most credible source,
Oh,
but
that's
Genius was.
Well, that kind of
was
makes sense though,
referencing.
because like they're kind of both rapping a little unorthodox, and they're both British, of course.
Yeah,
Very heavy
exactly.
British accents. You know?
Yeah, and also another thing
So-
too. Okay, we don't need to get on them for being British, bro. They can't control that. You know what I'm saying,
I'm not getting on them, dude. I love British people.
dude?
I love British people.
Okay, I love British people too. Let's leave it there. British people, we love you. Okay, moving on. I want to.
It sounds like you kind of just like flipped a little bit. I get
I
the
don't know
sense that you weren't. Okay, I'll leave it.
He's being very weird. I love British people. Anyways, I want to give roses and love to A.G. Cook because you're very,
Yeah.
very right. You mentioned earlier that when Everything is Romantic comes on and then the rest of the album follows, all those tracks are produced by A.G. Cook. And you can just tell. Like, PC music no longer exists, but it has the PC music sound all over it. And it has that super bouncy, super very much like you're in like a glass room kind of atmosphere to it. And I absolutely love
Yeah.
that about it. And you're so right. Like
Yeah.
when the drums come in on that song, on Everything is Romantic, just wow, man. It's pretty nuts.
And I don't know if you gotta let me know if you feel me on this one. I got just a tiny hint of a Todd Edwards vibe on that song with the way that the strings were chopped when it drops in, bro. Just a
Yeah.
little hint.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there, bro. Shout out Todd Edwards.
You know what? I
You
was
know?
just
His
going to say
influence is felt throughout the world.
Todd, hey, shout out Todd Edwards. I was just gonna say a lot of the production feels reminiscent of like a lot of previous club classics that we've heard, like certain sounds and kind of movements into like a drop or
Yeah.
something on this track. It just reminds me of a lot of older tracks that I've heard in club songs. And she even talks about that, like she's trying to recreate that. Like I just feel like
Yeah.
she's so realized on this project, and it's so
Yeah.
it feels so nice for once, because in recent times, like a lot of the big pop albums that get a lot of love, the writing is just like falling flat on the floor for me. And
Yeah.
we like this is not to say that all pop music is like this, all pop music that's been coming out is like this. It's just that Charli is really like kind of getting into a mainstream success, even though she kind of talks about not getting there. But with the way people are receiving this album and the way people are talking about it, it's going to be talked about for the rest of the year.
I want to touch on the A.G. Cook thing and the whole PC music sound, because I feel like some like hardcore fans might be like, actually this album is not really like the true PC music sound. And I get that. Like it's really not. Like it's kind of a blend of like the PC music sound with maybe a little bit more of like just kind of like a more simple. It's more simple. I don't know. It's not as like futuristic. It's not as like high tech and robotic to me. It feels like it's more so kind of like stripped down a little bit. Of course, there's like so many cool sounds still going on, and there's so much like layers in the production to grab onto. But it's really, it's not as advanced, because I feel like it's really serving Charli like as a songwriter and as a vocalist on this album more so. It's less about the vibe and the sound on this album. It's really more about the songwriting, which is I think a big reason why I'm so into it. Especially compared to like stuff I've heard from her in the past. Even beyond the lyrics, which are obviously we've been praising them for kind of being more vulnerable. Like just like the song structures and all the hooks and everything. Every song just feels like so well thought out and well crafted to me. Just from like a pop songwriting perspective.
I can see that for sure. I do still feel like the PC music sound is, if anything, it's like it's refined. It's found its blend and kind of its in between and balance for Charli to excel.
Yeah,
but also at the same
for
time,
sure.
at the same time, it knows when to let the reins loose. You know what I'm saying? Like on Everything Is
And I'm not
Romantic.
even saying it's like that much more accessible or anything. Like it doesn't. This album still doesn't sound mainstream.
No.
Really. Like you could stretch it for a couple tracks, but like it still doesn't. It doesn't sound like the singles from Crash that I heard at all. It's still got that PC music DNA, but it just feels a little more refined. Like
I like
you said.
that. I like the way you said it right there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm actually a little bit curious. What are some of your favorite tracks? Like if you could give me like a top 3.
As far as a top 3, bro, like I've actually been thinking about this all week because I
Oh,
just
wow,
like
okay.
it's one of those albums for me where every listen you get a new favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Everything Is Romantic is probably my favorite song.
Yeah.
Just because I just that outro section is masterful. Like every switch up on that song is just amazing. I also like Girl So Confusing. I love that song. The hook, that's one of the most catchy fucking hooks on the album to me.
The synths on that track.
Just the
man.
way the synths sound amazing, and the way her vocals pan on it is
Ooh,
like
yeah.
so satisfying during the hook.
Yeah.
And then, to round out the top 3, I'll probably take Rewind because that one's just so catchy as well.
I want to touch on Girl So Confusing because you're so right. Like, and it's also, I love the way that Charli kind of like lets you into the door. Like she's kind of like inviting you into her space to kind of like see how she's feeling about the industry. You know what I'm saying? Some like quote unquote secrets about the industry. She has that one line where she talks about like her calling up the paparazzi, and everyone does it sometimes. It very interesting.
That's Rewind.
That's Rewind. Yeah, there you go. That's Rewind.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love how relatable she is on this album. Everything feels so relatable, but that's because I feel like she's being so honest. You know what I'm saying? And it feels like there's been such a disconnect with a lot of major pop stars where they just feel so pushed up because of maybe like internet culture, or like the things that they sing about are necessarily sometimes too ambiguous that we can't really feel attached to them. But like Charli really connects that bridge with her fans and her music, and I love that. And also on top of that, like she just loves her fans, and so it's really great that she kind of caters to both sounds, because at the same time you're right, like it's not necessarily accessible, but I feel like most people who could get into a pop album, maybe have explored music a little bit, could turn this on and thoroughly enjoy it, and that's what I really love to see.
I definitely think it's like generally it's pretty accessible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pop album with catchy hooks. Just compared to like the mainstream of pop, like it's definitely a breath of fresh air sonically and lyrically. I think I've said it a couple times, but like I just love how stripped back and honest and raw the lyrics are, because it really, like you said, like the lyrics really need a refresher in music right now, like the lyricism, bro, especially like not trying to take too many hard shots here, but like Taylor Swift being the biggest artist, bro, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, man. Not taking any shots. T Swift, don't come after us, bro. We love, all right. But I do feel that. I do feel that. No, I get it. You don't have to say love. I'm gonna say love because I'm gonna save my ass, bro. But I truly feel that, and especially because like Charli is also just someone who I feel like is very tongue in cheek, and that really works. Like on a track like Mean Girls, for example, where she's talking about like listening to Lana Del Rey. It's so silly that I can't help but kind of laugh at it, but it's also so true, right? Like it's just a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun, and I gotta.
That's one of those songs where it's like, I could understand if that is just like towing the line for you, like that maybe is going into like corny territory, but I fuck with it, man. It's just a vibe.
Like
that song completely plays into the Brat persona. That's definitely not one of the more vulnerable tracks, but that's like it's a very balanced album in that way, where you don't get too into the vulnerabilities, even though it's very, very present on the album. Like, it has a great sequencing in the track list to where you always get a nice balance of that.
I will just give my top 3 favorite songs right now. I'm gonna have to admit, Everything Is Romantic. Yeah, that's right now. That's upper echelon right there. That's just a crazy track. And it gets a little hard. I completely understand where you're coming from. But honestly, I'm feeling Talk Talk as my second favorite. I love how bubbly that track is. It almost kind of reminds me of like a K-pop song, like what like the current K-pop scene is doing with their sound right now.
Yeah.
Kind of like a reminiscent on like a New Jeans. Like I feel like New Jeans could slide on that track very easily. Also, like a line that I love and lives with me throughout this entire project is "Talk to me in your own made-up language as long as I understand it." Like, ooh, like that hits for me because she talks about a lot of love aspects on that. Like, I love that. I love that. And then probably a tie for third has to be. Actually, you know what? No, I'm just gonna give it to So I, because I really love So I, and to actually like sit there and piece together, like once I finally started really realizing she was talking about Sophie, I was like, oh damn, like that really hit, because I've loved Sophie's music.
It really hit, bro.
Yeah,
no, that one honestly, I was starting to tear up like the other day listening to that one.
Yeah,
it's not like so devastatingly sad where I can't listen to it every time I listen to the album, but like once you like really tap in and like really tap into that emotion that she's getting at, it's like it's pretty hard to listen to, especially because she's really like being, again, very honest and saying like, actually, I don't even like singing these songs at my shows because it's just like too hard, and I feel like I was a bad friend. Like, I feel like I pushed you away. Like, it's very hard to listen to in that way.
She keeps it genuinely honest throughout this entire project, and you just have to love that. And yeah, like it is just devastating, because I feel like a lot of the industry is still grieving over the loss of such a talented producer, because she filled a space that was just like so unreal and just so ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just tragic. But, you know, nonetheless, like it is an amazing tribute, and I'm glad that she kind of pours over it and touches on it, because she keeps it ambiguous enough that you yourself as the listener can kind of pour in your own kind of ideas and kind of relate to those kinds of feelings of, like you said, being a bad friend, for example. You know, we've all maybe felt times like that where we haven't been the best person for someone whom we really cherish and wish we could be there for.
Yeah.
So it's just a super relatable feeling, and I love that. She definitely like allows you to relate to a lot of these tracks in your own way and kind of insert yourself in there. But moving forward, man, do you have anything maybe you wish the project could have did better, perhaps?
Honestly, dude, not really. Like, I'm really kind of in love with this album. Like, I don't... No skips. I think, like, maybe the weakest track for me might be Talk Talk, just because it's, like, the least experimental. But, like...
Ooh.
It's still like a catchy fucking song. Like, it's still really fun.
Yeah.
And I don't really have any I don't really have a problem with the song. It's just like when I look at the rest of the track list, it's like I kind of fuck with everything a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm really in love with this album. It flows so perfectly. One thing I didn't even touch on that I absolutely love is how 365 ties in with 360. It's basically like a reprise, and it just keeps the album on an infinite loop. And it's just also, that song is just amazing too. There's so much like Aphex Twin, like Window Licker influence on that one. Probably like the hardest fucking banger on here, honestly. More
artists need to do that for sure, because she actually did it on Charli too with 1999 and 2099. So it's like she's... It just feels like one. I use this term a lot for a lot of artists, but it really does feel like a victory lap for her, in that sense that like she's coming to finally, like, this is who I want to be. This is what I want my music to be. If you're not for it, so be it. But here I am. I'm here to present myself to you guys, and I love that.
She's as big as she's ever been. So
true, and it's the best time to do it. It's the best time to do it. Absolutely. I will say, I maybe need a little bit more time to grow with Von Dutch. I think that's my least enjoyable track on here. I think it just it's
I
in
get it.
between it's in between two amazing tracks for me. And I know you just said Talk Talk is kind of not as stellar, but I don't know, man. That song is just so bubbly. I think when I first listened to it, that was the song that made me really go, oh, hold on. Let's start
Okay.
listening. Let's really start
Yeah,
listening.
no, I respect that. The thing about Von Dutch that's weird, it definitely took me a few listens to like really love it, but I really appreciate what it's doing now. Like it almost sounds like she recorded the song and then they shifted her vocals like 2 bars to the left. Like 2 bars too early or something, or too late or something. Like it feels offbeat, but it's not. And it feels like a very weird, it's like a magnet. It's like 2 magnets fucking pulling each other for that song. Like it's very weird feeling.
Well, actually, how I felt about it was that like I felt how you feel about it on Talk Talk, where it's like that felt like one of the simpler tracks to me as far as the production goes.
Oh, well, it's definitely simpler as far as production.
Yeah,
But
I do see that now because it is interesting what they're doing with her vocals on it. But regardless, like we're not here to really at this point we're kind of nitpicking. I feel like the consensus is between us. We love this, man, and this is an amazing project, and I hope it gets talked about for the rest of the year, for years to come, because it's just been so fun, and I love the rollout too. Like I love kind of what she's doing with the Brat album cover. You know, just
I love the
just
album
changing
cover
all her
so
album
much.
covers is very funny.
Love it.
You know, it's just
I
I
love
don't
that
care
too,
attitude.
yeah.
It's an I don't care attitude. It really works nowadays.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she really is just capturing the zeitgeist. I just feel like this project made me feel very seen, which is funny to say because here I am sitting a man, and this album is opening up Hot Girl Summer again, bro. This album's opening up Hot Girl Summer.
That's
To
kind
all
of
my
facts.
hot girls.
I don't know if I
y'all
would
got this.
say. I don't know if I would say I feel seen, because I do feel a little awkward singing along to some of these songs. Like,
Nah, man, I'm letting it loose.
you know, but
I'm
like,
letting it loose.
I'm owning it though. I'm
Yeah,
owning it.
own
Bro.
it.
I'm faking
Exactly.
until I make it.
Exactly, bro. I'm trying to be with the hot girls if they allow me to. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to party with them if they allow me to, and that's what the song's making me feel like, bro. I'm welcome in, bro. Like it feels very nice. You know, honestly, it is true that like it is catered towards a lot of those things with like Mean Girls, with Girls So Confusing. You know, because she is talking about the way that the industry kind of pits women against each other. That they're supposed to be like friends all the time, but then actually competing against each other. It is interesting. So yeah, I do feel that. But regardless, man, what a project we got on our hands. This album receives 2 thumbs up. It's getting
2 thumbs up.
It's getting 10 out of 10 Brats. That's not actually my rating.
10 out
I
of
don't even
10
know what my
Brats.
rating is. 10 out of 10 Brats, just off bat.
Green out of 10.
Ooh,
Neon green.
Neon green out of 10. If you don't make this episode neon green, you fucked up.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I better see some neon green in your wardrobe this summer from all of you. If I don't see some neon green, you fucked up. You fucked up. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for watching. We want to give a shout out to Todd Edwards. Shout out Todd Edwards. Shout out Todd Edwards.
Shout out Todd Edwards.
We love you all so much. We're so glad and back to be making videos. We have a lot planned for y'all. You know what I'm saying? All love goes out to y'all. And we're going to see you next time. Bye.